Mic on. Since we are doing something, whatever it is here. Are we on? Hello? Okay.
Hello, Judge. I don't think I'm on. Am I?
Just pull it forward, that little thing on the top. Push it to you.
It's on? Okay, it's on. It just doesn't sound like it. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The City of Statesboro has proposed, we're asking for favorable consideration to raise the hotel motel tax from 5% to 6%. I have a resolution from my mayor and city council folks who are in complete agreement, as well as our delegation of 3 in the House. Well, they have several proposed areas to use it. I think it's going to be through the Statesboro Convention and Business Bureau, and will go towards the Arts Council and downtown revitalization, development, tourism, all through tourism. And 40%, no, the equation, 40% by law goes to tourism, and that's not going to change. Correct. Nothing else whatsoever.
Sorry, any questions from the members of the committee, Ms. Tankersley? Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor state by saying aye. All opposed? Okay, this is a local bill.
Yes.
It goes on local. I always do the tax bills within the committee because as a measure of caution, because if they ever decide that something was a hiccup in there and you were a general bill, you've actually been through committee and had it passed, and you can go to rules with it if you. It's too late now, but if that happens, you'll be next year before you can get it passed. But this year is local bill as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Now, Brother Yates is a technical error. We're going to have there's a problem. So we're going to hold that one. That's a 528. He's got a technical error in that bill. Okay. Representative Harden, my seatmate. You want to come and bring 529?
Yes, sir. What I've got is another one of the hotel motel taxes. This is the City of Cordele, and I do have the proper documentation on this. The City of Cordele wants to use their rise in hotel motel tax of 1% for a quiet city. Now, if you'd have no our city to understand what a quiet city is, but we've got CSX, Norfolk Southern, and a newly created intermodal facility there, and we have trains through there about once every 2 or 3 minutes. And to create a quiet city, you have to fix the railroad track warning signals in such a way that the train doesn't have to blow its whistle when it's coming through. And that's what this is for, and it's really going to be a major plus for the city, and that's tourism, by the way, because because it does pertain to the folks that come in there to stay and get woke up all night long by the trains coming through.
Okay. Question to you now. It has always been my thought on that. Now, you correct me if I'm wrong, and that CSX owns those crossings. Is that correct?
That's correct, but they will not do this for the city. They have tried through, and it's not an inexpensive thing.
Oh, I'm well aware of that. I mean,
and
that's why they don't want to do it.
Right, and but having all 3 railroads there, and basically none of the railroads are willing to pay, and I don't think there's any law that will make them pay. The city attorney's kind of
the issue is this, though.
Yeah.
Who's going to do the work?
Now that I don't know. I'd have to ask my city manager.
Okay. As this thing proceeds through, you might want to. This thing could get hung up in the Senate because if you're going to pay CSX with tourism funds, that might change the code.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Rather than just the tourism part, you're now going into a different mechanism for the money to be in place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's going to the city. The city would then turn and write a check.
Oh, yeah. No, it did go into the city first. Yeah, that's.
But are they going?
Well, no, I'm sorry. It doesn't go to the city. It actually goes to the Chamber of Commerce and through their tourism group.
I understand.
Yeah.
But even through the chamber.
Yeah.
You just, in an abundance of caution, you better check on that, because I think CSX is going to be the ones, or Norfolk Southern, whoever owns the tracks, is going to be the one to actually do the work. And so on the payment, you just better be we better be careful on it. I'm not. It's a local bill, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I'm not sure either, Mr. Chairman. But I'm sitting here thinking I would think that some of those I know some of them are shared tracks, so I would imagine that the tourism group may just have to contract with contractors to do this. But
Well, they come and whenever CSX does a track down my way, we got CSX. They do it all.
Yeah.
And they'll shut it down and close the road and everything else. I mean, you can't go through there even in the middle of town. So I mean, that's the key is they own the railroad. They don't. The train don't jump the track.
Yeah.
The train is on the railroad. So, but with that, that's just the only thing as far as caution that I'm worried about.
Right.
I'll stand for a motion if y'all don't have questions of the.
Well, let me add too, and I'll think through this before I go to the Senate. But they own the railroad, but they probably don't. Their right of way doesn't extend to the placement of these crossing paraphernalia. So therefore, it'll be on city property to that extent.
They own 50 feet both sides.
Yeah.
I know that. I don't know how far it is for you where you got your crossing gates, but
yeah.
But they got 50 on both sides. Any questions of the gentleman? I'll stand for a motion.
Motion to pass House Bill 529.
Got a motion? Do I have a second? Got a second? All in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Representative Harden, that'll go on the Monday calendar.
Okay.
We'll put it on there for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Ms. Houston can't be here today, and she's got an appointment, so I'm going to go ahead and take hers up. Basically, this is another one of those. This is an ad valorem tax exemption on a homestead. This is it's going from what was the original? Do you know, Ward? Did they put it down? I know it's going to 35,000. I don't know what it was to start.
I'm sorry, sir. I don't know what it currently is.
We don't have the current. It's that, as you can see, it says Section 1 and it goes to Section 3. Section 2 will give us the old exemption. I'm just doing this out of abundance of caution, but again, this is a $35,000 homestead exemption. Cuts taxes to the residents of the city of Tifton. Do y'all understand that? That is not a tax decrease, that's a tax shift. I just need to let y'all know. And because the folks under 65 will be picking up the burden of the tax on the non-existent $35,000 to them, okay? Does everybody understand that? All right. I'll try to explain this to you. Okay, if you're 65 or older, you get if your house is, let's just say your house worth $50,000. As far as tax value, it would be worth $35,000 less, so it'd be worth $15,000. You'd be paying 40% of the tax value on that. That's the way and then you multiply that times the millage rate, okay? That's the way ad valorem works, okay? Now, if you're under 65 and your house is worth $50,000, and let's just say the old exemption was 15, you're going to pick up that burden from that other 65 because the millage is going to be the same on your property. That's why they shift it from the over 65s to the under 65s, okay? just realize I always tell people that Ms. Housen was aware I gave her that information. I'll stand for a motion.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I'm just curious to know, for the city, is this a unanimous vote from the city council?
Yes, ma'am. I think she had everything. She told me she had everybody on board with it. I think what they're saying in the city of Tifton, they're gaining enough through their fees and Avalon that they can handle this. They're not going to be in the red.
Right, so they want to do something to help their senior citizens like the elderly.
Same thing. Now, it ain't like Clayton, so let's don't get that one
I
mixed up.
understand.
Okay. That's the opposite over there. I'm not going to go there. My good friend Demetrius.
I thought about that, yeah.
No, I'm not going to give him credit for that one. Okay, I got a motion due. I got a second. All in favor, state by saying aye. All opposed. Okay. All right. That one goes on the general count. On the local count. Mr. Gravely, I'm sorry we've kept you waiting. Are you doing Senator? You're not in Senator Gooch's district, are you?
No, sir.
So y'all don't know where he is?
He'll be on his way, please.
He will, ma'am?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Okay, Brother Gravely. Have at it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Today I bring to you House Bill 543. I've also included documentation. You'll find the letterhead from our Board of Commissioners. This was the agenda for the year. If you'll look at Section 1 is pertaining to the bill that I bring to you today. And then included in the packet is also the resolution that was unanimously voted upon by our county commissioners. This as well is a hotel, or an increase in the hotel motel tax from 5% to 8%. As you see in the resolution, the increase would go to help us hire a museum curator, history and tourism director to work out of the Douglas County History Museum of History, Art, and Welcome Center, which is where the center of our tourism is promoted and takes place. It would also help us to support, and I invite all of you to come to Douglas County and enjoy our Hydrangea Festival. This is something that we want to increase and welcome folks in on an annual basis, and we're looking to help increase tourism by this particular increase at this point.
I know you ladies know what hydrangeas are. Do you men know?
I've never actually been to the Hydrangea Festival, so.
Okay, I'm going to tell you
Thank
this.
you.
So hydrangea is a very pretty flower. You usually plant them where it's real wet, and they make a big old bloom, usually purple or blue, or sometimes they're even a little greenish color. So really pretty, very pretty flower. How about that? Did you know? Exactly. See,
Yeah.
I knew these ladies would know.
A lot of folks they adorn the mailboxes on Main Street with them, and they have these nice arrays. But it's something that we're wanting. Ella J has the Apple Festival, the Watermelon Festival, the Daisy Festival. Smyrna has the Jonquil Festival, and we're wanting to kind of situate ourselves on the map as well. Among the festivals that we're wanting to bring to Douglas County, this being one of the more promotable ones.
Now, let me ask you, this is a technical question, and
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you, of course, I'll let the members of the committee also ask you questions too. But my technical question, have you ever used any of this excise tax, this hotel motel tax, for salaries up until now?
Not to my knowledge, no, sir.
Okay. All right.
Or I'm not aware.
Be aware now that if it changes the code,
Yes, sir.
and I can't, there's so many different codes up and down that motel hotel tax, I can't keep up with it all. And there's somewhere along the way, if you run into that problem, we'll probably have to come back and start over next year. I'm just giving you fair warning.
Yes,
That's
sir.
why I'm having hearings on these. You'll be passed out of this committee. I don't think anybody's got a problem with passing it, but you got to understand that sometimes those if it messes with the code,
Yes, sir.
and it becomes a general bill, and it would be subject to the 30-day rule and all this other.
Yes,
Okay?
sir.
So it may get slowed down somewhere if something happens. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Question, Mr. Douglas.
One question. How many hotels?
That's a very good question, actually. The city of Douglasville, and for the record, I probably should add, our city of Douglasville is already at the 8%. So we're wanting to bring the county in equalization to the city, we have 3 hotels in the county.
How many
Hopefully,
in the city?
I don't know actually if one of our other members could speak to that.
I'm from Douglas County, and so to talk on this bill, the citizens in Douglas County do not want this bill, even though we have the representatives here that have signed off on this, because it's going to generate about $100,000. That money is going to be used to pay a salary of an individual that will go to that museum and will be in that museum just to bring in tourism traffic. So I want to go on record as being one of the people that is opposing, because it is in my county, and my constituents do not.
Understand that, and that's fine.
There's 2 hotels that will benefit from it, and then there's about 3 hotels in the city of Douglas County.
And let me state this, and the gentlelady, I do appreciate your voice in it. Let me explain this, though, and for everybody on hotel motel taxes, it normally doesn't affect anybody in town at all. But I mean, unless the wife gets mad at the husband, they have to move in a hotel for a little while. But that's about the only time it'll affect you. I don't mean I'm just being a little bit funny there, but honestly, for the most part, it will be tourism that comes into your town that'll be paying the tax. So, yes, ma'am. All right. Yes, sir.
Was there a resolution, though, that was unanimously passed by the Board of Commissioners?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And to further expand upon my friend's comments, I think she's heard from some of her citizens, but I too have also heard from some of my citizens as well who would be in favor of this particular. I mean, I don't know how many of you are race fans, but Douglas County is the last stop before you get to Talladega. Right. So we get a lot of business. We warrant a lot of business from that particular race. We're also 2 exits up from Six Flags. So if anybody's ever been to Six Flags, the theme park right there on I-20, we warrant a lot of tourism from that particular part. Families bringing them, coming in for the summer, coming in for the day, staying over the weekend. They just go up to the next exit. Those hotels are within the city. Sometimes they can stay within the county, but we're wanting to just equalize the county with the city.
I understand. And again, I don't have a dog in the hunt. It's up to your county to make that decision.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
How many folks are in the delegation?
We have 8 members of our delegation. The way our delegation rules, which have yet to be printed, but we're working off of our chairman's request that a majority of the delegation. So we have 5 members of the delegation that support this particular legislation.
You don't have rules in our committee?
No, sir. We just formed a formal delegation. So I guess to that point, we don't have delegation rules at this point. We have elected delegation officers, but we don't have delegation rules.
When we first formed the delegation, rule was that it would be a 5-3 vote. So if Mr. Gravy got the 5 votes, that's fine. My understanding is he has a vote from the Senate and he has 2 from the House.
Senate don't count.
Correct. So then there's only 2 other additional votes that we have.
3 other additional votes.
So how many representatives represent, not senators now, representatives?
There are 6 representatives in the House. Myself, that represent a portion of Douglas County, yes, sir.
Douglas County, you'll have to have 4.
Yes, sir, I have the 4.
But if you don't have rules, you got to have 6.
Okay.
You have all 6?
No, sir, I do not have all 6.
No, I'm sitting here.
This bill,
But those rules,
I'm going to have to hold this bill.
That's fine, that's fine. But those rules have to be printed and submitted to you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Before you drop the bill.
Yes, sir. I'm fine with that. To me, all I need to do is just tell the commission that this is the process in which it works.
Well, I'm telling him right. I'm telling him right. Before we drop, let me try to explain to you. This is your first go at this, and
yes, sir.
Is this your first go at this also?
Well, I would say the young man here brought the first bill, yes.
Okay,
So
but
for my county, yes.
okay, let me try to explain it to you. On your delegation rules, we'll go back to that. Delegations have to submit the rules before bills are dropped, okay? Because I have to go off of what the rules are when the bill's dropped. You understand?
So our chairman has not submitted rules.
No, sir.
To you.
That I know of.
Okay.
Do you have anything from Douglas County? Can you check, please?
Roger Bruce.
Let me make sure, and that if he's got rules, then we'll be different.
Okay.
Can I hold this? And let
Absolutely.
Senator Gooch-
Absolutely.
If you'll have a seat, we'll
Yes,
hold
sir.
this, put it on hold till we can get Senator Gooch up here, and if he's got rules, it'll be in there. But if he doesn't have rules, it'll have to be all six. Normally, it's usually unanimous unless it's 3 or more. That's usually the way to go. There's another way of doing it, and I don't want to go into that right now. Senator Gooch?
Yes, sir.
I'll explain to you after the meeting. Okay. I would have let you go on first if you'd gotten here.
Well, I had
got
a
all
meeting
that stuff over there. I need you to help me get out.
That's right. Your transportation chairman had me tied up downstairs.
Well, I understand, but I'm
DOT
going to need a little
commission.
help now, you know.
All right, we're here
I
to
got
help.
a bunch of repeal bills I know you're going to be interested in.
I love repealing.
Watching paint dry.
That's right.
Okay. Senator, if you will, let me explain to you why you're here. And on
All right.
tax bills, I'd just like to have a hearing just in case that somebody rules along the way that it ends up being a general bill.
Okay.
If this bill passes, it'll go on the local calendar. As far as I'm concerned, you got a local bill here.
Right.
But, you never can determine. Somebody else may determine nay. So, as a general rule, on tax bills, we just have a hearing.
Good deal.
If you will, go ahead and present Senate Bill 201 to us.
Let me just say thank you for letting me be here today, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I represent the 51st District, which includes White County, Lumpkin, Dawson, parts of Forsyth, Gilmer, Fannin, and Pickens. So it's an 8-county district. I'm the only senator in the White County delegation. And over a year and a half or so ago, we had over 3,000 seniors and voters from the White County area sign a petition asking for senior tax relief from school taxes. So that's the reason we were here today. We had a public hearing on the topic, and we had a lot of interest from the community. Obviously, anytime you talk about exemptions, there are going to be people for and some against, so you can't please everybody. This bill started out at a lot higher amount than it is today, but we've come to an agreement and compromise through our local governments and our local community citizens that had some concern about it. So what the bill does is it allows for the first $100,000 of assessed value to be exempt for people who are 70 years of age or older, and they have to be in that home. It has to be their homestead exemption. It does not include any other homestead exemptions. This is in lieu of any other exemption. So this is not an add-on. This would replace any other exemptions they have for school taxes. It applies also to an income cap. If anyone makes more than $25,000 a year, other than retirement and Social Security benefits, then they would not qualify. So this is really meant to be geared to help people on modest incomes in the community. The age again is 70 years of age. The referendum would be on the ballot in the general election, which would be November of 2014. It's not a special election. It's not going to be tried to be ran through in a special election. It's going to be in a general election, which would be in 2014 is when they have the governor's election and all other statewide elections. So if it passes by a majority vote, then it would go into effect the following January. So with that, I'll ask if there's any questions.
Did I have any questions of the gentleman? Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm looking here and it says, for anybody 70 years of age, you're raising the assessment?
No, we're going to give them an exemption
Exemption.
of any ad valorem taxes for school purposes only, not county or city, but only for the school portion of their ad valorem tax, and it's for the first $100,000. So if they live in a home that is assessed at $200,000, then this would basically eliminate half of that tax for the school portion only. So if
The citizens were in favor of this?
well, with 3,000 people signing a petition, it's a pretty significant number. There's roughly 25,000 people living in the community, so that's a pretty significant number of people. If you ask 100 people up there, do you like it or not, we don't know what the response will be. That's why we're calling for a referendum. We're going to let the people decide.
Well, on an ad valorem increase like this or decrease or whatever, you got to have a referendum.
And it will shift the taxes. There's no question about it. Just about every county in Georgia has some kind of senior exemption, whether it's local, county, or school tax. I have one in my community. It's for $300,000, regardless of income, at the age of 65, and that was a significant tax burden to the people that didn't qualify. This is a lot less than that. It's going to have a much lower significant impact on the rest of the taxpayers.
Yes, sir.
And this is primary residence
Correct.
exemption. It's
That's
not
right.
Not the second
And
home or anything.
that's correct. No second homes. You have to qualify through your homestead exemption, and you have to bring in your papers to prove that your income qualifies you for that through a tax return or whatever the assessors requires you to bring in.
Ms. Ben.
Yes, sir. Senator Gooch, I appreciate you bringing this bill. Very interesting because I know a lot of senior citizens in my district are often concerned about the fact that they're having to pay so much in school tax and they don't have any children in school. So I'm just curious to know, how did you all arrive at the $100,000?
It was an area of compromise. We started at about $200,000, and obviously the school superintendent was real concerned about the impact he would have with the school budgets, where they are with the recession, the way they were 2 years ago. Since then, the revenues have come back up slightly, but still not where we want them. But we did concede in these numbers, and the seniors that I was working with agreed to lower them. And I'll say most of the seniors that I work with on this committee will not qualify for this exemption because they make too much money, but they were honestly doing it for the ones who didn't work and who couldn't work. And I had a gentleman that came to one of my meetings who had a 92-year-old mother. She makes $800 a month off of Social Security. That's the only income she has to her life savings. So she's trying to make utility payments, her food payments, and now paying taxes for the school and the county and the city, and it's almost impossible for her to live on that $800 a month income. I don't know what her home value is, but it's probably this. I would almost bet that this would eliminate her school tax, but it won't eliminate any of her county tax. She'll still pay for fire protection and police and fire. So most people think once you've gotten to the age of 70, you're not going to be working much longer. A lot of us won't live much longer than that. So if your average life is 72, 74 years of age, you're giving somebody a break for the last 3 or 4 years of their life. There are people that live to be 100, but not many.
And this is joint income, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct. That's correct.
If spouse is involved, it would be so.
That's right.
Household income.
And a lot of the people that we talked to were sole survivors. They were living in the home alone. A lot of women,
Right.
Their husbands had died, previously, so they're concerned about how they're going to live in the community. And with the values of land going up, house properties were escalating 10-15% a year until just a few years ago when the recession hit. Now the values are back down some. We're starting to see that land sales are coming back. So moving forward, we don't want to see their land values go back up and create a problem for them. So this helps. It gives them some help. It doesn't eliminate all their needs, but it gives them, I think, a great benefit.
And then you put it on the referendum on the ballot.
That's correct. That's right. If people want it, they can vote for it. If they don't, they can vote against it.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
That's the time.
Second.
Got a motion in it. You got a quick one here.
That's right.
They must have bills they want you to get out.
Maybe. Got a couple of
Got a
former county
motion and a
commissioners.
second, Senator Gooch, for Senator Gooch's bill, Senate Bill 201. All in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. All opposed. Senator, this will go on our our local bill calendar, and you should be good to go.
Thank you. Just for the record, the House members in White County are Terry Rogers, Lee Hawkins, and Stephen Allison.
And they're all on it.
I haven't polled all three of them, but they have been involved and been in communication with
Okay,
the
now they'll have to
seniors.
sign this bill. You
That's right.
understand that?
That's right. I expect they will.
Yeah. If they don't, we'll have to hold it.
I understand. I understand.
Those three. Now, you got to understand how our let me explain to you so you'll know. Our rules are that it has to be House members, even if they'll have a joint, agreement.
I understand.
House members, if it's a majority of House members, it have to be 2 out of the 3.
No problem.
If it's you don't have any rules, then it's 3 out of 3.
Gotcha.
Yes,
I think we're okay on that.
Okay, thank you. Just
I
let you
appreciate
know.
it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, getting back. Wait, before we're not leaving yet, we got Mr. Gravely. Hang on. You do have a set of rules, okay?
Okay, I was not aware if he had submitted any or not.
Okay, let me make sure. You signed, Ms. Jones signed, Ms. Teague did not sign, Ms. Alexander signed, and Senator James signed, but Senator James doesn't count. So we got 4. By this, you got 4. Okay, so that means you'll have to have 3 members of your delegation on the bill. Have you got that member signature?
Yes, sir. Myself, Representative Bruce,
Representative Bruce doesn't represent this district.
Is it right down the first sheet,
Bruce
right?
is the, yes, sir, he's our chairman.
Oh, okay. Oh, we got, wait a minute.
Okay, goes to
Hightower, we don't have, is he in that district too?
Hightower.
Okay, the way y'all got this is, okay. Y'all lawyered this thing up, okay? Okay, you got Bruce on the front, he's 1. Okay, you got Hightower on the stage 2. What is that? Okay. That must be the rules, Chairman. Okay, Hightower. Kidding. That's 2. You got Alexander, BZT, Ms. Jones, and Mr. Graves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That means you have to have 4. Have you got 4 signatures?
I've got 3 signatures. I think does Hightower has signatures.
Before we can move on this one any further, you'll have to have his, I can't put it on, okay? I'll have to hold it till you get that other signature, then you can come back, okay?
He's downstairs right now, or do I need to?
Well, you can go, we'll hold a meeting if you can go get it signed. I'll do that for you. But you need to have those done before you come in. But if you got the deal.
Yes, I wasn't aware. I would have had it all 4. I was even told yesterday all I need to do is just sign it and submit it. But I saw the other 2 members ask if they wanted to sign it.
Sometimes folks around here tell you the wrong thing.
I've learned very quickly.
But now I'm just doing it by procedure. I'm not trying to embarrass you at all.
Oh, I understand.
But procedurally, the reason I can go ahead and proceed with Senator Gooch's bill is he had the requisite signatures from the Senate to bring it here. But in order for this bill to proceed, and what I told him, those other members have to sign it before I can put it on the list. We passed it, but it doesn't mean it's going on until those signatures, those requisite.
I just need to go get.
You'll have to have the requisite signatures. You'll have to have 4,
Okay.
according to your rule. It says any 5 members, but the senator doesn't count. So it has to be 4.
Actually, this was actually probably more than myself and my colleague have learned about how to do rules since we've been elected. It's actually a good meeting for us.
Well, remember that we got to sit, and I try to tell these joint rules things, there's no such thing as far as I'm concerned. It's just a House and a Senate. Because our rules are different on certain bills. If it has to do with partisan elections or anything to do with certain things with taxation, then we considered a general bill. And it has to go to rules and all that other, and meets the 30-day criteria. And I don't even know that if it, on these tax bills, there's a 20-day criteria also. I'm kind of waiving that until somebody tells me different. But normally if you don't have the bill submitted in the first 20 days of the session, the tax bill is dead. But we're not doing that till I get with the Ways and Means Chairman. We're not going, because if he's going to handle them, which he hasn't been doing, and I'm going to handle them, it's different. So I'm going to have to just waive that. But right now I'm waiving that. Yes, ma'am.
Why does some bills go on the ballot and some don't?
An ad valorem tax, I'll try to explain that one to you. Ad valorem tax bills, you have to have a referendum on anything that has to do with ad valorem. So that's the law, that's constitutional. Okay, that has to do with property taxes alone. Anything else we can have for general bill, we can stand Ways and Means, even in Ways and Means. And the ad valorem bill in Ways and Means has to meet the criteria of and some of them have to have a criteria of a full statewide referendum. So it just depends on what the bill does. But if anything has to do with ad valorem or property taxes, ma'am? Any tax. Yeah, SPLOST, lost, anything like that.
But these motel, hotel taxes don't have to.
They don't have to, no ma'am.
That's because there's a general statute authorizing
Unless it, and we don't have to do the general either, unless it's not a general bill unless it meets the code definition.
There's a general statute already adopted by the General Assembly.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am. I'm
would you
sorry.
like me to run downstairs and get this hot over?
Yeah, I'll give you a few minutes. We'll just we'll just recess for a few minutes if y'all let him. If you can find Mr. Hightower, hurry, and we'll get that done.
Well, I have another question while you're going through that.
Sure.
What I was curious about, was there a certain number that you had to have in a delegation or to have rules? 'Cause I only have one in my delegation, so is there a certain number of delegation members that you must have in order to have a set
Well,
of rules?
All right, no and yes. There's
I'm sorry?
no and yes. All right, if there's more than two, usually you do have a set of rules. Okay. Now with two, you can have what I call a gentleman or gentlelady's agreement with two people saying that an abstention does not kill the bill. You can say that and put that in your rules. In other words, if someone abstains from signing, as Alexander's done, it would not kill a bill if between two people. Okay, and that's in my regard, unless you got a good relationship with the other person. Okay, but sometimes the other person, I'm not really going to do. I don't want to do that, and the other, you probably want to have an understanding with them that by abstaining you're not going to kill it.
And all the rules have to be on file.
If you split a county right down the middle, where 50,000 people, you got 25 and somebody else got 25, I'd probably get that rule of just a gentleman's agreement. Okay. But you don't have to. And if you don't have rules, it has to be unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, didn't you give us an example of that when we started?
Yes, ma'am. And again, everybody's rules are different. Like this one's different. I mean, from Fulton, it's different from DeKalb, it's different from. I got one in Jeff Davis County. We just got a. Yes, ma'am. You get one for us. We'll get it. Yes, sir.
If you have a city within a county that city has different delegation members, and you want to do a motel tax, it doesn't say, for example, with the city, do you have a certain city delegation?
Yes, sir.
County
well, you should. Yes, sir. Like if you got a big county and you got a city with a lot of people in it, yeah, you need a set of city rules. If it's just one person that represents a city and three people represent a county, then that's wholly different.
That's a county. That would be a county delegation.
Yeah, it'd be a county. But now, if it just happened to deal with a city, let's just say like the city of Douglas, okay, my home. All right, Coffee County has 2 reps, but the city of Douglas only has 1 rep. That's me. So if the city of Douglas wanted to do a motel hotel tax, I would not have to go get Jay Roberts to sign on with me. But now if the county wanted one, I'd have to do that. So that's the difference in doing that. But now if you split the cities, like in Broxton, which is a city of fabulous municipality and a huge urban district, of 611 people, we split it right in 2. So we'd have both. If they don't have a hotel there, but if we did, they would have both sign.
May I use another example?
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Robert Dickey, our sheriff of Peach County, he has Byron and I have Fort Valley. Now, there were hotels in Peach County that wanted to increase their sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
Both of us would need to.
Yes, ma'am. If it's in the county. If it's in the city of Byron, just him. If it's in the city of Fort Valley, just you.
And with both of us, it's just a delegation of 1.
Yeah, you meet in a phone booth and see if you want to do it.
delegation includes you.
Yeah. So you kind of, I always say, all of us that have those one kind of delegations, we're a little schizophrenic. No, we're not. Yes, we are. And so, so that's kind of the way we are. So. But again, giving you that.
It's a little easier, I guess.
Well, it is easier if you're the only one. You can do what you want to do, but sometimes that's not so good.
You get all the blame too.
That's right. You get all. As a, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Patton, but at the end of the soliloquy at the end of the movie, it states that General Patton was talking about Caesar. And when Caesar would come, and after he'd conquered a country, and they brought all the animals and all the slaves and all the people in, that they were coming in from the conquered country, he always had his rider who was with him whisper in his ear that all glory is fleeting. Remember that if you're a single delegation member. Because I can tell you, you will catch it from the. But every now and then you can, but it's also easier to fix something too. It's harder to fix something that's wrong when you got a lot of people, because it depends on what's fair. I have never been able to get anybody to give me a definition of what is fair yet. Well, how to define fair? It's like it's not fair for Georgia Southern to come up there and play us in our place up there. It's never fair up there. But it's never fair when we go down there and play them either. Got it done?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're back.
We're back on the document.
Back on the first document. That'd be that's Mr. Gravely. I'm sorry.
543.
We're back. All right. So you've got it signed. You've got your requisite signatures. Has the chairman signed? Do you know?
Of the delegation?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. That would be Brother Bruce.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. He's signed. So has he signed on?
He should be the second signature.
Who got the ad done? You?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have the bill here if you need to see it as well.
What about that? The chairman's notice.
They don't require one for the delegation.
Okay. All right. No problem. Okay. If you don't have a chairman's notice, then there's no problem. All right. Where are we? We're subsequently you're going to form this to pay for the guy that's going to run your museum.
Yes, sir.
And you're basically staying within the allocation of your tourism projects. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anybody else got any questions to Representative Gravely? I'll stand for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to do that.
I got a pass.
I got a second.
Got a second. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Have two against. That's poll. One. Please raise your hand on your ayes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 2 opposed. 8-2. All right, it's on the local calendar for Monday. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Won't go on tomorrow. So
Okay.
I got that one already done. Any other questions? All right, committee, I've got a few subcommittee reports we're going to do, and any other discussion, and then we'll leave in just a few minutes. Tomorrow, hold fast, we got those repeal bills coming, and Leo told me I think we counted 327. Now, I know the Rules Committee is going to get tired of me going for 327 bills, okay, on the repeals. I'm going to probably start spreading them out if that's the only way we can do it between y'all, okay? So you'll be carrying stuff down there to repeal if that comes to light. We're also going to be working on these things this summer, as I've told you before, so be prepared. This committee's going to be a working committee, and I guarantee we'll be working a lot. I hope y'all are ready. Any other questions to me? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Members of the committee, thank you. It was the most exciting hotel motel tax committee I've been in. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Like watching paint dry, boss. Is that right?
See, Michael.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Any other questions? Monday. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yes, ma'am. You got plenty of time. Now, getting toward day 34, you're going to start wearing down. Now, these things, I don't know what's going to happen between now and day 34, but that's about the last day they can submit one and get it through.
35.
We can 35. We can do it if we haven't read on the first day. You know, we haven't read that day. You know, suspend the rules, but don't suspend them if you can help. Y'all got? Has anybody got anything on our committee that we need to help them get through? Okay, I'm from a committee first, and we'll work everybody else in. But we're gonna work on those. Anybody else? Demetrius, do you know if y'all are gonna come back with Clayton County? Y'all gonna wait or what? I know y'all are having a hearing. That's one we got on hold. We also got Payne City from Bibb County on hold.
Supposed to be redrawn, but I haven't seen the revision yet.
Tell them they ain't got a lot of time now. They got to run their ads. They better run them today or tomorrow.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask one question.
Yes.
What I was asking a minute ago, since speakers here too. The city of Stockbridge and Henry County is in the process of trying to make certain requests to us as far as local legislation. We have a Henry County delegation. I'm not aware of any Stockbridge delegation that's set up at all. So, am I correct? It would take every member that has a part of Stockbridge signing on to that board to get yours?
Yes, sir, if you don't have rules.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. We stand adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank y'all.